these young people a hand for what they're doing. So give them a big hand for what they're doing. Since the civil rights movement, there's never been a struggle that has been successful without our young people being involved. When Dr. Martin Luther King decided that he was going to invite young people, high school students and college students, to serve on the front line in Birmingham and Montgomery and Selma, a lot of people questioned why. But Dr. King understood that if they didn't get involved, their parents wouldn't get involved. If their parents didn't get involved, their grandparents wouldn't get involved. When we see our young people on the street, when we see them in harm's way, we have a tendency to get up and move. Today, people are getting up and they're moving because young people are moving up. They're saying enough is enough. It's unfortunate that we have to be led by our children, but I don't know about you. I'm glad they're out here, and I'm glad they're leading us. So what we're going to do today, we're going to have a brief prayer, and then we're going to have a moment of silence. When I was approached to be involved, one of the things that really excited me is that Haley and Damon and all of the other young folks said, Reverend Gray, we don't want this just to be about parkland. We want this to be about all of those who have been killed in churches, who have been killed in schools, who have been killed in theaters, but also those who have been killed on the street. They said we're concerned about violence in communities of color too. They said we don't want anybody to think that this is a white people's only march. This is a people's only march. We understand people come from different faith traditions, and we're going to have a moment of silence. But we want to invoke that which is good in all of us. We want to invoke that which is strong in all of us. We want people to understand that all of us, there's something in all of us that forces us to live for the sake of others. How will people know? It's through our love. Thank you for showing up. Let's pray. God, we call you by many different names. Many different names. But Lord God, it doesn't matter what we call. We know that you still sit high and low. We're asking you, Lord, that you would trouble the hearts of elected officials, that they might be led and moved and encouraged to do what is right. We need gun control in this country. We need gun control in this state. We believe, Lord God, that elected officials can be motivated, but they will only be motivated when we show up. They will only be motivated when we stand up. They will only be motivated when we show up. Today we have shown up. These young people have spoken up. And today we're praying with our feet. Trouble the hearts of elected officials. And let them realize that when one life is lost by senseless gun violence, that is one life too many. It doesn't matter if they are white or black or brown or yellow or red or young or old. It doesn't matter if they're from the south side of Del Mar or the north side of Del Mar. One life lost is one life. And so we ask that you would move this movement. Move it through City Hall. Move it through Jefferson City. Move it through Washington, D.C. And let the elected officials know that we will continue to show up being led and guided by our children. Will not go away. And now for all those who have been killed senselessly, let us pause for a moment of silence.
Or the countless other mass murders that took place here in our country. Today we send a message to politicians that we will not stand down. We are not just a bunch of loud kids. We are planned, we are organized, and we are ready. No more prayers, no more condolences, no more blood money, and no more excuses. I want to say thank you to every politician that took the time to be here today and listen to what we have to say. I sincerely hope that you guys continue to fight with us and for us when you go back to your offices. Because you guys are the people with the power to save lives. And to every politician that did not take the time to be here today, I want you to know that your time in office just became very limited. We will vote you out. I want the NRA to know that we will not stop until you no longer have the power to control our government. No more corruption, no more blood money. Today, we march in solidarity with the survivors of the Parkland shooting who had the power and the courage to do what so many adults have not. And I'm honored to stand beside them because the truth is we should have been in front of them. We should have did something long before today. Columbine should have been the last one. Sandy Hook should have been the last one. Trayvon Martin should have been the last one. Today we march because my generation and the one after mine have been raised in an environment of terror and fear. We don't want to have to look for a safe exit anymore. Today we march because we refuse to let any more children grow up in a country where they are not safe. Today we march for our lives. So let's do it!
I mean, it's a great marker.
That's a good marker. I actually made a sign that says I can't believe it's not how the fun.
It's not how the defense works.
Yeah, I think people should.
All people are falling behind. Sorry, we had just
I do agree with that to a degree.
Around like 5 a.m. You could just see it. And 5 a.m. was 3 p.m. That's what it is.
Walk into it.
What democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
That's so cool.
And there, politicians need to hear you. So let them hear you. Let them hear you. They need to know that you showed up. And they need to understand it's not a white issue. It's not a black issue. It's not brown. It's not red. It's not yellow. It's not gay. It's not straight. It's not poor folk or rich folk. This is all about people. This is a people's issue. They've got to understand that this is not a game.
Surrender
And
your
I tell
weapons,
you what,
Israel!
as a former politician,
Israel, you're under arrest! State of Israel!
there's one thing that politicians
Vice leads to
understand.
violence!
They understand numbers.
Israel!
Some of them understand numbers with money. NRA. Some people understand numbers, the vote. The vote. We need to let them know that our votes are more powerful than NRA money. They need to know that we will show up, that this is not a one-time thing. This is not just, what do I have to do on Saturday morning? I don't have anything else to do. I think I'll go march with the kids. This is not what this is. These are not future leaders. These are today's leaders. These young students, high school students, college students, they told us, they're telling us that we are either going to lead, we're going to follow, or we're going to get out the way. And if we don't get out the way willingly, y'all see what they can do. You know why you're here today? Because young people organize. That's why you're here. You're here. It wasn't the churches. It wasn't the elected officials. It wasn't the unions. It was the young people. Young people organized. They said, if you don't do it, we will. If you don't take care of our lives, we'll take our lives into our own hands. Now, don't let it end today. Don't let it end today. Don't let it end today. Your silence is complicit. If you are silent, If you don't say anything, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. If you don't vote, if you're registered to vote, but you're too tired to vote, then you're part of the problem. If you say, well, none of them really excite me, sometimes you have to pick the lesser of the evils. Hello, come on. Come on. You can't say, because none of these are my choices, I'm going to stay home. When you do that, the person that wins is the worst person, Donald Trump. I'm just saying, you may not have liked the option, but 3 million votes, that's not a lot of votes.
Israel and the Jews.
My vote about the epidemic that is gun violence in our country. The poem is called Blood. My leg bounces. Up, down, I'm trying my hardest to remain calm. My eyes flick, left, right, searching for another face to tell me I am not losing my brain for thinking the basis of this conversation is insane. Left, right, my palms sweat. Cortisol moving through my bloodstream. Blood. The reason for all of this is just that, blood. The blood that has been shed in the name of nothing for the good of no one. The blood that has dripped from bodies long cold. The blood that has flooded our nation, leaving us slick with regret. 33,000 Americans fell victim to gun violence last year alone. Tell me there was nothing that could have been done to prevent that. Tell me that there was nothing more. My face warms, red splotches covering my cheeks. I cannot hide my displeasure. Because, see, the adults are speaking in front of the students about prior mass shootings in schools and other places and plans for evacuation and preparation in case, God forbid, someone tried to stop us from making it to graduation. See, the adults are speaking from a place of concern. Their worries are justified, faces cinched up, trying to discern, for no one wants us to end up in an urn. It is not their words I have issue with, it is the need for this discussion. Columbine, Las Vegas, Sandy Hook, Aurora, Pulse, Virginia Tech, Sutherland Springs, Parkland, Florida. The list goes on and on and on, but I am too tired to continue. Tired of seeing preventable loss, blood spilling forward, red puddles coating the floor. Look out, try not to slip on your way to the door. Suicide, homicide, negligent and otherwise, domestic violence. All made easier through our collective silence. Background checks, loopholes, bump stocks. The adults still talk. My eyes still searching. Flick left, flick right, flick to the numbers on my watch. The talk stops. My eyes steady.
Eventually, we ran. I looked back for other runners. Running wasn't part of the lockdown plan. But in an ugly twist of fate, I had discussed on multiple occasions with Vicky Soto, my best friend who died that day, how we would put our children out the window and tell them to run if needed. In the end, I was able to complete our plan, and she was not.
Pornographers lead to gun violence.
The unbelievable pain and grief that followed that day has literally brought me to my knees at times. The best way I can think to describe it is I felt like I had a deep, dark, dirty secret, and everyone knew about it and was talking about it. I felt so vulnerable and raw. Even everyday things like teaching a lesson seemed unbearable at times. Making decisions was impossible. I was covered in rashes, lost tons of weight, and couldn't sleep for fear of nightmares. For months, I planned how I would react the next time I was in a shooting, replaying the event over and over again with different, better reactions next time. I made sure I knew the exits everywhere I went. I cried and cried and cried. I held my colleagues and students as they cried in fear that this might happen again. And then it did happen, again and again and again, all across our country. We continue to allow more and more people to become victims of gun violence. We need to end this now. Many things have changed for me since Sandy Hook. I've learned to live a new normal. I'm finally strong enough to recognize that I am not just a victim, but a survivor that is strong and confident. I've learned to feel safe again, and to enjoy life again, and to teach again. And yet I know that my tragedy is forever part of my life, and I will ride the waves of trauma and grief for the rest of my life. I would not be here today if it weren't for the strength of the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. They have been an inspiration. They have been an inspiration to me and many fellow survivors. After Sandy Hook, I didn't feel that I had a voice. I did not feel that there was a way for me to honor my experience or those we lost in public. I was silenced. I was paralyzed by my experience. I was hiding from the opportunistic media and conspiracy theorists. The students from Parkland have shown us the way. They've shown us how to be empowered and strong in the face of tragedy. And while I know that their personal trauma is still strong, these students have not let it stop them from standing up. I am so proud and inspired by them. I can no longer hide in the shadows. Survivors' voices matter, and not just for ratings or scoring political points. People need to see the true effects of gun violence. I'm asking you today, all of us, survivors, students, teachers, citizens, corporations, politicians, to stand with the students of Parkland and call for real common sense solutions that put students' lives first. I'm asking for you to act for all victims of gun violence. It was time for change after Columbine. It was time for change after Sandy Hook. And it is most certainly time for change now. Our students and teachers deserve more than to carry the burden of their safety on their backs alone. Lockdown drills are not the answer. There are common sense solutions that the vast majority of Americans believe in. It is time we all use our power to act now. Thank you.
That my 15-year-old sister was also shot in the same incident, and what was supposed to be one of the happiest times of my life was now engulfed in sadness that I had lost a friend, but also fear of how my sister would react to losing her best friend. By this point, gun violence had become a norm in my life and in my family's life. At just 17, phone calls like this were normal. I'm here today because nobody should receive these phone calls, especially a child. I can recite countless other incidents, just like those two, in which my life has been affected by gun violence. The reality is that 17 lives are lost every weekend in Chicago and across the nation due to gun violence. These lives lost affect people like me, and they traumatize us forever. But they don't teach you that in school. Politicians very rarely speak about the real lives and real people affected by every single bullet. When our representatives take money from the NRA, they are telling millions of children across the nation that their lives don't matter. I'm here today because my life is more important than money, and my sister's life is more important than guns. I am here today because this epidemic ends with me. It ends with us. When I was in high school and a friend would die, the world didn't stop. I barely even had enough time to mourn. Even though all I could think about was how I would never see that friend again, I was expected to just move on. And I've noticed that parents and teachers, they don't talk about that. They act like they don't understand what it's like or how hard it is for teenagers to focus on their life or even their future when the people around them are dying. When at any moment they know that they could be next. You kind of become desensitized to it, living in it and growing up in it. And when I went to college, I thought that things would be different. No more friends dying, no more not being able to be on my phone in public because I have to constantly watch my surroundings in case somebody starts shooting. I thought that I was free. It never occurred to me that just because I removed myself from that situation, that my friends wouldn't still die or that I wouldn't still receive phone calls like that. Or even more importantly, that I was still physically in danger because people shoot up college campuses way too frequently. In college, I realized that I would never actually be safe until I take a stand. My friends will never actually be safe until I take a stand. So I'm standing here before you, asking that we all say no more. No more senseless deaths, no more taking money from the NRA, and no more standing by while people around us are dying. Say something, do something. We are all here demanding for change, and we will get it. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to lead with a chant to get everyone fired up, so it's just going to be a vote them out. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
Vote them out! 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 Vote them out!
All right, that's enough. All right, so my name is Damon Alexander. I didn't expect an applause for that. I'm a senior at St. Louis University High School. Didn't expect applause for that one either. Okay. So I've grown up in the city all my life. So just like all the people here today sharing their stories, I've seen this gun violence firsthand. And now I'm going to hand the mic over to the other lead organizers to introduce themselves.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Lauren Malloy. I'm a senior. Okay. All right, I'm a senior at MICDS, and I got involved in planning this march because I saw what the Parkland survivors were doing, and I was inspired to act on an issue that I was already passionate about. Because I realized that I don't have to wait until I graduate college or am even old enough to vote because I already have a powerful voice. So, all right, now Haley's gonna introduce herself. Hey everyone, my name's Haley Zink. I'm a community college student and I believe that the change we want in this world is in all of us. This is our future. Let's stop gun violence at all levels.
All right, guys, so we just want to take a moment and talk to you about our future plans after the march, because we believe that this is more than just a march. This is a movement, and too often, movements start, but then they lose energy. The media moves on, politicians get distracted by some other thing, waving money in their face, and sometimes it may seem like that English essay is more important. So, this is, sorry. That's not going to happen this time. We're organized and we're here for the long haul. There are things that you can do today, right now, today, to stop this senseless killings in our schools, in our streets, and in this city, and we're going to talk about it today.
Speaking of this city, in our city, this is more than a school issue. Every 26 hours in St. Louis, someone is murdered by a gunshot. We have one of the worst streets in the nation for gun violence. We are near the top of the FBI's most violent cities list. Gun violence is more than school shootings. It's more than mass shootings. We're being shot down in our own backyards. And sadly, we've become numb. We've become numb to the news stories. This is not normal, yet these shootings have become normalized. We must demand change. Change not only from the politicians, but we must demand change from within our communities too. We must get our churches, our schools, and our neighborhoods involved. It is not enough to become complicit in these senseless killings. Thoughts and prayers need to turn to actions and results. It's nearly easier to get a gun in St. Louis than it is to vote. Speaking of, how many of you will be 18 by November? Yeah! vote. We have folks registering people on clipboards in the crowd and in those tents over there. Our generation is the largest eligible voting population. We are not just students anymore. No, we are voters, and we are angry, and we are paying attention. We will not be quieted. We will not be stopped. The change we need in this country is in our hands. Everyone go register, go vote, and vote those complicit politicians out. Last week, some very brave students walked out of their classes to call attention to this issue to their politicians. This happened all across St. Louis and across the country. Students at Cardinal Ritter, Clayton, Hazelwood, MICDS, even Wash U Med students had a die-in. This is real, and it's not too late for you to get involved now with this at your school. There's going to be another walkout on April 20th. Be a part of it! Demand action from your school's administration and those supposedly representing us in DC. You can do this, and we can do this.
Speaking of DC, how many people here know who their senator is? How many people here know who their congressman is? How many people here know who your state representative is? What about your city council person? All right, cool. So this is what we need to do. We need to write all those people. We need to call all those people. We need to Facebook all those people. We need to tweet all those people. We need to MySpace all those people. We need to alert every single one of them. Demand that they act on gun legislation. Please annoy them. Make their voicemail boxes full. In Missouri, make sure that your state representatives vote against House Bill 1936. The Moms Demand Action people are in the red shirts. They have a tent somewhere back there. They can tell you more about it. In Congress, make sure your Congress people vote for the reauthorization of the assault weapons ban. The original assault weapons ban, the original assault weapons ban contributed to a decrease in 43% of mass shootings. That ban was expired when I was in preschool. I am going to college this year. That is ridiculous. And if you are as angry as I am, you need to call your representative. You need to make sure they reauthorize the assault weapons ban. They will not forget. As we said earlier, we are not just the students anymore. We are the voters. Adults have failed us. Politicians have failed us. And very soon, we will inherit this country. And we are ready. There's a new day on the horizon. There's a new generation of leaders just ahead. We need to be ready. Each and every one of us has potential. And we need every one of you. Your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, we need it all. We're moving on with or without the politicians. They failed us, and we're tired of being murdered in our schools, in our streets, and in this city for no reason. This only happens when we stand together, strong and tall, and fight back. So today, we say never again. Never again! Not one more body in the street. Not one more body in our school. Not one more grieving mother. Not one more victim. Friends, I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready?